I am Pat James, Vice President of Lafayette Warehouse Incorporated.
What was your original plan and how did you think of it?
We had no original plan. It was a business that was started by our grandfather in the 20s and taken over by my father in the middle 60s, and then he passed away in '07, and then we as a family, three brothers, took over the business at that point, and we grew it to a lot bigger than what it was, started in the 20s.
And what is your current business and how close is this to your original plan?
Without the original plan, but it has grown into proportions of way beyond my expectations. And we've grown into 3 or 4 locations. Another warehouse here in Lafayette that we employ probably 115 to 120 people at any point in time, and it's grown way more than I ever expected.
How did you research the feasibility of your idea?
We kind of went with what worked and grew on that. There were some things that we had and that didn't work, and we kind of let those go by the wayside, but we grew what was working, and then we grew the business by attaining some out-of-town customers, and then also service. Good service is the way we got where we're at today.
How did you develop your vision for the company?
The vision of the company was always to sell every part to everybody at all times, but that is not feasible to do, so we had tried to do as best as we could to attain that goal, and it's grown to the point where we are extremely large compared to what we started, and way more work than I ever expected, and it's what it is today.
How long did it take you to prepare your business plan?
We actually do a business plan yearly for 2 of our vendors, Motorcraft and AC Delco, and we try to do a 10% increase over the previous year to satisfy them and to attain our goals and bonuses at the end. But it's just running promotions and talking to customers and trying to get them to buy more, and then giving them the reason why we are a better source than anybody else.
Where did you obtain financing for the company?
Self-financed, basically. We've borrowed money over the years, but we've had a very good savings. We've saved everything we had to get to the points we are today. Slow growth, not really big growth, is an easy way to grow your business without having to borrow and lose a bunch of money on interest rate.
Where did you learn the business skills you needed to run and grow the company?
Not formally trained by anybody, but my rule of thumb is 90% of the business is treating your customers the way that you would expect to be treated in those situations. 10% is, just running the business and getting advice from people, and trying to do what works and get rid of the stuff that doesn't work and increase the stuff that does work. That's how I have really done it.
What are the most important entrepreneurial characteristics that helped you succeed?
Being younger, like you guys are, I was not the most punctual person, and the skills is to be at work on time and put forth the effort. It's that is the 2 main keys to growing anything. The best thing you can do is show up to work, give them a lot of effort, and people will recognize what you're doing as and do what you think is right, and then everybody else will follow.
What were the biggest challenges you had to overcome?
The biggest challenges we had to overcome when we first started this in the 80s, when my brother John and we had a staff in here that had kind of ran things down a little bit, and we had to convince people why they should buy parts from us. That was one of the biggest challenges, seriously, that we ever had. Was everybody would say, no, I don't want to call down there when these particular guys still work for you. We had to convince them that it's under new management, that we're going to try hard and we're going to meet their needs. And that was the biggest challenge at first, and now finding help that is willing to put forth effort is another challenge nowadays. And You just have to lead by example and then let them follow, and hopefully they become a good employee.
What are the most important lessons you've learned by starting this company?
And once again, we didn't start the company. We did start it from, a bad position and turned it into a great position. But, the number one thing is you have to put yourself in the customer's shoes and pretend it's you, and what would you expect them to do for you, when it comes to a problem. But, to not have problems is just do the right thing, It's easy to do things, you hear stories about people that are always trying to take money before the service is done and stuff like that. I mean, that reputation will get you nowhere fast. So our reputation speaks for itself. We do get negative feedback from customers, and when we do, I try to comment back and explain, the situation, and our positives definitely outweigh any negatives that we have, and we have a good following, so people usually stick with us.
What advice do you have for would-be entrepreneurs?
Do the research before you start a business, and get a lawyer if you can to try to find out what costs are going to be incurred. I've had a couple friends that wanted to start something up, and it had to do with an edible, and I just told them, I said, the first thing you need to do is find out regulations for food, and if you don't have the proper capital to start this thing, then you're going to have to either find some capital or you're going to have to scratch the idea. But do plenty of research and see where others have failed, and if you think you can do it better than they did it, then it's probably a good idea. But if you don't know for sure, just do the research, because nobody likes to start out with a loss.